Welcome to the most brutal character tier list. I'm not gonna touch on every character because that's too much, but I'm gonna touch on those I actually know shit about. So yeah, I will not talk about Omni-Man because I don't know a lot about him, but I will, for example, talk about Chucky, Sinister, or Bagul. I will talk about the guy from Human Centipede. I will talk about Trevor from GTA 5. I will talk about Freddy Krueger and all that stuff. So this video will only feature characters from games, movies, and TV series. Okay, the first character is John Kramer from the Saw series. He's an electrical engineer that almost died in a car accident. And after that car accident, it changed his whole perspective on life. So he made all these traps that people that he felt like didn't deserve life had to go through to be basically brainwashed to appreciate life. As we all know, the Saw series is filled with torture and traps, and this is the guy behind all of it. I've seen all the movies and all the traps are so insane. They're so brutal and full of torture and all that stuff. So this guy is definitely S tier. The next character is Trevor from GTA 5. Trevor is basically insane. Like, if you've played him and played through the story, you know that he's insane. I remember him just stomping on that person's face. I'm not gonna spoil shit, but yeah, if you offend Trevor in any way, he will definitely kill you, or if you're lucky, he will just beat you down. So my best description of him is a delusional alcoholic that does whatever he wants to do. But compared to all the other characters that are on this list, he's not that brutal. That's why I will give him a C on this tier list. Okay, next is John Wick. John Wick is basically the inspiration for this channel. He's just brutal in any way, and he's so skilled too. Like, he's a really skilled fighter. People really gave Keanu Reeves the title of being the kindest man on earth. But his character in the movie is basically a brutal hitman. But you know, if you really dig into the lore about him and all that, he's actually a great guy. Like, he's a kind guy. Or I think he's a kind guy. Just watch John Wick 1 and you will understand. John Wick 1 is personally my favorite movie from the John Wick franchise, but I think that John Wick 2 and John Wick 4 is those who are most brutal with the kills. Everybody knows about the pencil scene, for example, in John Wick 2. So yeah, you can really find any way to kill anyone with any gadget. So you know what I mean? I was about to give him a B tier, but I think he's actually an A tier. Next is one of my favorite brutal characters ever created. Art the Clown from the Terrifier series. The character is not human, and I can't possibly explain how brutal and disturbed this character is. Terrifier 3 is probably the most brutal movie I've ever seen, and Terrifier 2 is second on that list. This is like, if you know, like the bedroom scene in Terrifier 2 and the bathroom scene in Terrifier 3. Those are one of the most insane kills I've ever seen in any movie. I was like disturbed out of my mind after watching that shit. Art the Clown finds amusement in killing people in different ways that are creative and brutal in the same time. Like an example of him killing someone in a creative way is the frost gun in Terrifier 3. And they didn't hesitate on including children that died in Terrifier 3. So you know what I mean? It's so disturbing and brutal at the same time. And like the opening scene, they really had to milk it all the way. Like, yeah, I can't wait for Terrifier 4 because I love that shit. I'm definitely not mentally well about that. And that's why Art the Clown gets an S tier. Next up is the character you play on Blood Trail when you play that in VR. Everything we know about that character up to this point is that he is a hitman and he's gonna take down these cults. There's not that much to say other than that right now because there's not a story and there's no info about him. But everything we know, as I said, is that he is a hitman and you can kill all that people in different ways with different gadgets and all that stuff. But yeah, Blood Trail is basically one of the most brutal games ever created. Try it out if you haven't, or you probably need to be 99 years old, as I said in the last video. But yeah, you could just do so much brutal stuff to other characters, and playing as that guy is instantly a S tier. Okay, the next character is from a movie that I sadly had to watch with my friends as a challenge. This is a movie that I watched about 2 years ago and I can remember everything and I want to forget it. The movie is Human Centipede 2 and the character is Martin. He's the antagonist in the movie. I don't know how to describe things that happen because I don't want this to be age restricted and demonetized. But all I have to say is don't watch it. It's traumatizing and you definitely don't want to watch that shit. There's more than 3 scenes in this movie that I can't get out of my head. And there's this one scene that I really can't get out of my head. And I'm not gonna say it, but I think you know what I mean if you have watched the movie. So this is an S tier for this character because he inflicts so much damage and torture to these people, and he's so violent and brutal that it's an S tier. The next character is the Joker. From everything this character has done to other people and all the pain he has inflicted and torture that is inflicted on other people, you know, just read the comics. It's insane. Like, he tortured a man for like years. No break, just torture and all that stuff. Like, he's mentally insane in a different way than other villains, and I have to give this guy an A tier. A lot of you want me to give him a S tier, but I will give him a A tier because he's like barely S tier. Like, I feel like he's more of an A tier than S tier on the brutal scale. The next character is Jason from Friday the 13th. I've seen a lot of Friday the 13th movies, and I feel like he's really brutal. Like, his kills are pretty creative, and he's clearly mentally disturbed. Like, his mother is the antagonist in the first movie, and she gives him like messages after her death to kill all these teenagers. No, I mean, I don't know if there's teenagers, but yeah, all these people that go to the woods where he lives near Crystal Lake. So yeah, I feel like he's so disturbed and so brutal that I have to give him an A tier. The next character is a character from my favorite horror movies. The movie is called Sinister, and the character that I'm talking about is Bagul. The concept about this character is so insane. Like, he gets these kids to kill their families and make snuff tapes out of it. The first one is one of my favorite horror movies of all time, and the second one is also really good. And all the snuff tapes that they show throughout the movies are so disturbing, and the ways that they torture and kill people are so disturbing, and I can't tell you about it because I would get demonetized. And this character, Bagul, is the one behind everything. He gets these kids to do it and all that stuff, so he's the one who's actually brutal. Just look at it. I don't know what to say. Like, it's so disturbing. This is instantly an S tier because if you watch the movie, you know what they did, and yeah, the kills are so brutal. I can't even describe that shit. The next character that I'm going to talk about is Longlegs from the movie Longlegs. I can't remember if it was this year or last year this movie was released, but it's one of my favorite movies this year or last year. I can't remember. Yeah, but anyways, I won't spoil anything, but all the brutal things happening in this universe because of this guy that exists in this universe. I won't say more than that, but yeah, all the brutal things that happens to these characters in this movie and all the stuff you find out throughout the movie, I will give this a B tier. Okay, the next character is from my favorite movie, like, ever. It's kind of disturbing because it's a horror movie, and it's one of the most disturbing horror movies. It's actually called Hereditary. The character that I'm talking about is Paimon, or it's kind of an entity. It's a demon. It's the demon behind like everything. This movie is pretty brutal and the kills are extreme if you ask me, but it's not like top tier brutality. Like, it's not like Art the Clown or Chucky and all that stuff. Like, it's more about the scary part and disturbing part about these kills. They made it so realistic when you watch the dead bodies and stuff like that, and I feel like it's definitely brutal in its own way, so I will give it a B tier. Next up is the character Chucky from the Chucky movies. I think you all have seen those movies if you're old enough, and you know, he's pretty brutal. It's the concept of a doll that's possessed by a serial killer, and the ways that Chucky kills people is pretty insane. It's actually really brutal, and I feel like he's like his own niche when it comes to the type of kills he performs. All these movies have different vibes. Like, there's this movie about him in the hospital and all that stuff, and I feel like It's a whole other vibe than the first one, or Child's Play. I think it's called Child's Play. Child's Play is probably my favorite. I can't remember right now, but yeah, I love those movies, and I feel like he's definitely on A tier. Next up is Freddy Krueger from Nightmare on Elm Street. This character is just brutal in his own way, and he feeds on fear, and it's the concept of being haunted by your dream, and him appearing in real life. And he has these claws on his hands, and I can't remember which movie it was, but there's this one movie where he has these syringes on his hand just as the claws. And I remember I had a fear of syringes when I was a child, so that was like insane to me, and I couldn't get it out of my mind and all that stuff. So yeah, this is one of those movies that haunted me from early age. In some ways, he actually reminds me of Art the Clown from the Terrifier series. But yeah, he's definitely brutal in his own way, and there's just all these brutal kills, and I have to give him an S tier. So yeah, that's it for this video. I really hope you enjoyed, and definitely don't watch a Human Centipede 2. Like, I feel like I'm encouraging you to watch it, but I just have to say it again, don't watch that movie. It sticks with you, Like, I still remember that movie picture for picture, frame by frame. Don't watch it. Just don't. So yeah. But anyways, drop a like, subscribe, and yeah.